Good evening. Welcome to the Alan Osborne Show. It's actually midday. It's the 26th of June, and the flycatcher behind me is Sheriff Atkinson. In his normal, that's what he would look like if he didn't have a PIO section and he didn't have everything prepared for him. But him and his buddy Clay are the experts of the county at pontification. So, hey, fat boy, how you doing, Mikey? Anyway, I don't think much of this guy, and I'm gonna tell you why. I don't think much of you, Corey guy. When you better keep on training after you put those threats down. Ain't nobody scared of you. You've been a weasel your whole life, and most of Walton County knows it. You've produced a weasel, and you're married to, whatever. Anyway, let's talk about the real deal. You know where Mikey was? He was at. Let's talk about Mikey's campaign finance, and all you need to know about the sheriff, about he ain't about your law enforcement. Go look online at what his PIO section did. The PIO section is about creating a legacy for Mikey, because 90% of the things that's out there on the sheriff's department, it looks like Mikey did it. Mikey's the hero. Mikey's just supposed to be the damn sheriff. Mikey thinks more of himself than he does his deputies, and I'm going to prove it. Hey, I'm talking to all you deputies out there. Now listen, two things about this. You can tell people who you're voting for all you want, but you can vote with your heart when you go into and all you voters out there. You can vote with your heart when you go into the ballot box, because nobody gets to know who you checked. So you can tell people all day long who you're voting for and make them feel good, and then go in there and make your heart feel good about who you should have voted for. And just do it. And to you deputies out there in the sheriff's department, let's think about that. To you guys that were at the sheriff's department who thought they were qualified to run the jail when Corey Godwin was brought there, go watch Mike's video on how proud he was and he knew who he was going to hire. How do you deputies feel that you guys that were maintaining qualification, that your boss decided that hit one of his best butthole friends all his life, and his spokesperson, a weasel? That's what you are, Corey. Ain't nobody scared of you. You could train all day long, and nobody would be worried about you. Nobody, except maybe some of your boyfriends or something. I don't know, Corey. But I'm sick of it, and I'm sick of this. You think about it, deputies. Mike Atkinson decided that a guy who'd been out of something for 15 or 16 years and who had no current qualifications and was selling license plate tags for tax in Panama City was more qualified than all of you. And he brought him there to run the jail. And then now he's working at the Sheriff's Association, teaching people at this nonprofit. And the Sheriff's Association is like a private business, but all the sheriffs are involved. Go look it up. Write the people at the Sheriff's Association and tell them to watch the show on the Sheriff and Corey, because this past president of the Sheriff's Association who got Corey that job is what my opinion is. And he had to give him the jail job before he could get him a job in Tallahassee, where he could do what Corey does best, suck butt. And I'm just tired of this. A lot of people go, I'd never vote for you for sheriff, Alan. I said, okay, you're just too abrasive. I get it. You're the same people that voted for Biden instead of Trump because you wanted some kinder words. But that's okay. You got to bet. If you don't want to vote for me, surely don't vote for this guy catching flies behind me. And I got that picture from the Defuniac Herald. Thanks, guys. Anyway, go vote for Aaron Murray. He's way better than this guy. Aaron's not a politician. He's actually a cop with a great record. Better than this guy. I won't be on the ballot with him. So, I mean, you just got better choices. So let's talk about where Mikey was last night. Mikey, were you at a fundraiser thrown by St. Joe? Now look here, people. Why? Let's talk about who's giving Mikey money. Why is a developer giving Mike Atkinson money? You know why I think he's giving Mike Atkinson money? Because Mike Atkinson won't investigate white-collar crime. Some of the biggest crimes in Walton County have been developers borrowing money based on Matt Carpenter and the county's compliance certification that they're in compliance with their development order, and clearly there was evidence there were not. This money was borrowed out of state. And think about this. When this was, I reported this to Mikey myself, and I've got all the emails. Now you think about this. And this is one of Mikey's donors, Dana Matthews Law Firm and DCM or whatever. Go look at his account. Now Dana's look at all the lawyers donating to Mike and the consulting firms and his own cops. Look where his money's coming from. It's not you, the individuals. It is from the cops that work beneath them, and we're going to go over that. But why does a development firm like St. Joe need to back a sheriff? A sheriff just enforces the law. He's not into development. Think about it. Because Mike doesn't investigate that stuff. And look at all the developers and consulting people who are giving him $1,000. They don't want that stuff investigated because that's the biggest scam in the county. That's the overloading of the infrastructure. That's the things that ruin your quality of life. And they do it when they're not in compliance. And that's the issue. If all these development orders were in compliance and they were doing it, it'd be one thing. But all of us know about the traffic. All of us know about the drainage. All of us know about the bay pollution. And if you've missed some of my other shows, the guy in charge of your 2040 vision for Walton County, your plan director, Matt Carpenter, he lost his real estate license for fraud, and he's still working for us. I mean, you just can't make this crap up. So, Mikey, why does St. Joe need to raise you money at a private event and don't come if you don't bring your checkbook? Why? That doesn't pass the smell test. It just doesn't. Let's go into this. Mikey, let's go into your donors. Okay. Let's see who your donors are last time around. Well, this really concerns me. The first donor was Audie Rao, one of his dudes there. And Donnie Clark and Dustin Cosin and Dustin Burleson and Steve Park. They say these are all law enforcement officers. How many of them work for you? Is that not just, I mean, you're their boss. You decide their raises. I just want everybody to know where this money's coming from because there's probably a pretty good chance that these boys won't have the same job if Dustin, isn't that cousin Mikey to you? Okay. And let's go over some of these other people who gave to him. I mean, investment groups, consultants, law firms. Something stinks about this. And then you got that mouthpiece Corey Godwin. Like I said, hey, you veterans out there. Does anybody know anybody else who went to basic training and came home on a DD-214 in the Army and spent the whole time in the reserves of the Guard and got out as an E2? There's no good conduct medals or any of that stuff. And there's no other orders. Listen, folks, something happened to Corey and that shit was covered up, and I put that out. And I say I'm happy to debate you in public, Corey. I'm happy to debate Mike about the uninvestigated house party that destroyed somebody's private property. Oh, Mikey, was one of your daughters there? I mean, everybody's talking about it, Mikey. Why aren't you addressing it? Why aren't you answering these questions? I'm not scared to debate you, and neither's Aaron Murray. This is a bunch of garbage. Mikey, what do you think about those texts? That's what I said. You people in the department, y'all can carry the party line. But would you really want a boss who fired somebody for credit card abuse as a sheriff and it wasn't investigated? Now, how many of you think that you could take a government credit card and misuse it? They fired Dee Dee and all them people. Why is she back at work? Does Dee Dee get to come back to work? How many of the Godwin families employed by you and how many times? Isn't Donnie Clark the same person giving you money? Isn't him and one of the ex-deputies there? I'll start digging into his life too. Look, I'm going to tell you deputies, you dirty deputies, you guys in the upper leadership and you guys that got out that used to be captains, you know who I'm talking about. I know exactly what you're doing. You're Mikey's henchmen because you need the bail bonds. You need the jobs. I mean, some of these people Mikey drug with him to Tallahassee. All you guys down in the force working hard, do you think you can get past his cousin and his nepotism hiring program? There's two types of rules in Walton County, those for the elected and those for the connected. And Mikey is the connection to all things that. Look who gave him money, Clay Atkinson. Yeah, his cousin. Well, he only made about $1 million off the county as a county attorney last year. He didn't give him Clay's money. He gave him our money. Mikey's in everybody's pockets. Mikey, can you explain why you opened a bunch of LLCs in the last 4 years and then closed them down? Why did you tell everybody you weren't going to run again and suddenly you had to? Is it because you're afraid there's information that would come out that would be during the statute of limitations after you left office? Now you think about this. I asked Mikey to investigate fraud in the Sandestin DRI, and the developer was claiming SDI Investments. Tom Becknell owns it. Dana Matthews was representing them. You know who Mikey went and asked on behalf of the Sheriff's Department if he should get involved in that? None other than his personal counsel at the time, Dana Matthews, for the Sheriff's Department. So the complaint I filed to be investigated of some wrongdoings by a developer and by people in the BCC like Matt Carpenter and other people who weren't telling the truth, Mikey went to one of their lawyers of the developer to get advice on behalf of the citizens. And nobody had a problem with it. The state attorney wasn't looking to it. But that's who's giving him money. Huh, Mikey? There's a lot of those questions, Mikey. There's so much infidelity in there in the police, in the sheriff's department, Mikey. Haven't some of your leadership positions? How many sexual issues have happened in the sheriff's department? And how many are there that we don't know about? We know you didn't fire the panty sniffer, and he's still in charge. He's following my show. And you guys who did wrong, you sitting there looking at me while I'm talking to you, it's because this has affected my life, this corruption. And in America, I still possess the First Amendment right, so I'm exercising it. You should exercise yours when you go in the voting booth and look all these crooks in the eyes and tell them you're voting for them and let them wake up the next day to find out they're not in charge anymore. This isn't a monarchy. We left England a long time ago and threw tea in the bay, in the harbor, the Boston Tea Party. Hell, the bay's so polluted, maybe it's time to have the Walton Tea Party and throw all these Democrats running around in Republican clothes, throw them in the bay and clean them up. Hey, upcoming events, Mikey, won't you come to Mossy Head? Hey, guess what's going to happen at Mossy Head? Mossy Head Community Center, I think it's July 6th. Man, y'all need to show up to that, because at that event, we'll have all the texts between Trey and Tony, and we can ask Trey and Tony right there, Trey and Tony, are these texts real? And what did they mean? And who reported them? And is that in line with the county policies? I mean, isn't that what you're supposed to be out here on behalf of? So we'll have all this paperwork, and we have some other paperwork too to make you go, that we're going to talk about. But let me see if there's anything else that's really just jumping out here at me in this midday thing. But Chaz Galloway's still out there putting out stuff, and he's associated with Chuck Wilder and Trey Nick and Tony Anderson. So if you don't like John Walton, you don't like all that crap, you don't like a lunatic. Hey, Mikey, when you going to investigate? Did you know all the public's information was possibly breached at the BCC? And Mikey knows about it, but he doesn't want to investigate because guess what? There's naked pictures of a goblin in those same files. Or where did they breach? Yeah, we had porn on the county computers. And Mikey knows the people in the porn. Things that make you go, Well, until tomorrow when they do something stupider, you can't make this shit up. But you can unelect it. You can vote for Alan Osborne for sheriff. You can vote for Aaron Murray for sheriff. Or you can vote for the Stay Puft Marshmallow Con right here behind you catching flies. It's time for a change, Walton County. And all you got to do is walk into the voter booth and do the right thing. Till next time, there's PACs out there, but I'm just for the Constitution. I'm a veteran for the Constitution that believes that we deserve better than this non-veteran behind me who's never served anybody but himself, in my opinion. And that's the way it was on the Alan Osborne show. It's raw and it's real, but it's the truth. Till next time.